Welcome to Benjamin's Dream and the Dreamers Podcast. Hey listeners, this is podcast number 10. We're in week 7 of fantasy football, so let's call up our first caller and see what he has to say.
Hey Ben, what's up?
Hey Mike, what's up?
Pretty good.
So did you win last week?
I did, yes.
And you played Chase, correct, or no?
Yeah, I barely hung on. Yeah, he had some players on Monday night, I think, and I ended up barely winning.
No, I got you. It was funny. I didn't realize it well, I think I did realize, but I never brought it up. The only set of we have two sets of brothers, and they both played each other last week.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure Drew played Alex, yeah.
I'm guessing Drew won.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So did you try to, I don't think you did, but did you try to pick up anyone this week?
I did not, as of yet.
No, I got you. Is there anyone, do you have any Thursday? So it's the Broncos versus the Cardinals. How do you feel playing David Johnson on Thursday? I know it sounds silly, but.
I don't know. I mean, I'm still going to play him. I don't really have great alternatives. I mean, I have, what's his name for the Jets, but he's like.
Isaiah Crowell, yeah.
Yeah, like he'll, usually he's going to get like 4 or 5. Then every 2 or 3 weeks, he gets like 25 points.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't have much else otherwise. Latavius Murray finally had a good game last week, so maybe I'll have to look at him.
Right. Oh, yeah, he's so inconsistent. So, like, last year, he was obviously on the Vikings, I think. Or no, I had him the year he was still with the Raiders, and it was very frustrating.
Last year might have been his first year with the Vikings. Maybe.
Correct, yeah. And prior to Dalvin Cook getting hurt, so when Dalvin Cook was healthy last year, he was very useful. He was very similar to Alvin Kamara in New Orleans in terms of they just used him for everything. But then Latavius Murray came in. I think I maybe tried to pick him up last year because I had him a few years because he's okay at times, like fantasy-wise. I'm sure he does fine playing, but like he'll be very frustrating as an owner to have him as a player.
I played him the first week after Cook got hurt, and he maybe got like 4 or 5. And then last week he finally had like a good game, it looked like. But yeah, he's kind of unpredictable. I haven't played him since.
I gotcha. How is Calvin Ridley out for a long time?
They think he's playing Monday, so I'm probably not going to play him because he's questionable. But they said he just has like a bone bruise, so he's probably going to play if I had to guess. Him and Sanu both are, but I'm not going to risk it really. But
no, I gotcha. I can't
sub anybody for him at that point.
So the week we played the Falcons, meaning the Steelers, did he score a touchdown?
I think he did. Let me look. Actually, I think he did. No, actually, he only had 38 yards.
Oh wow! Well, that was a weird week for us as a team because I feel like the past 2 weeks, meaning the Falcons game, I feel like I don't want to say sleight of hand because I don't really feel I don't know what team we are yet, if that makes sense. And then we played the Bengals, and it felt like almost like a Bengals situation. Like they probably should have won, but they didn't. You know what I mean?
It did seem like that. I mean, I think it was a pretty even game, but I mean that you could definitely make the case that they should have won.
Right. Yeah.
But that's just what they do. I mean, they screw up at the end.
Right. How's Kenny Stills working out? He didn't have very many points last week, even though they went into overtime.
He had some decent games in the middle. His first game was third, but after that, he hasn't been over 5 points. He hasn't been over 5 since then. And he's like arguably their number 1 guy, which is odd.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's not doing much. And I know Tannehill's out again. I just saw for next week, so I don't know who they're back. I don't remember who played for them against the Bears. I watched.
It was Brock Osweiler.
Osweiler.
Yeah. So the person you're playing this week is my boss. Last week So Travis, I think me and you actually talked about this. Travis's team has been scoring like over 100 points every week.
Yeah, so they both had like 130 and 140.
Right. And Travis came back and beat him in the Monday night game, and I told him I was happy because I'm freaking 2-5 or something ridiculous, or 2-4 or something. And everyone else,
of us are either 2-4 or 3-3. So
right. So he put me all. I went from 4th. No, actually, I was been losing for a few weeks. I didn't check the standing or the playoff bracket, but I went from at one point I was 4th, meaning I was in the playoffs if they ended right that second, and then I went all the way to 7th, and I just keep losing. I've lost 3 weeks in a row, and it's just I don't know. I hope the trading
losing multiple in a row is rough. I hate that.
Yeah, because everyone else wins, and then you only get to week 13. It's not like
That's what I do. Yeah, just watch whoever's close to me and see what they do. I don't right. Otherwise, but.
Mm-hmm. I remember last year, me and Chase had the same record, but I think it's final points scored, not points. I don't know if it's points against or points. It's something weird.
I think it's your points for because I'm ahead of someone with the same record, but my points for is higher. My points against is higher too, so I think it's just points for.
No, I got you. So I mean, his team is.
I'm sure it's head to head if you're in the same division and you play like twice or whatever. If you win twice, I'm sure you'd win. I would hope.
No, I got you. His team was pretty consistent in terms of scoring points. I mean, honestly, I don't think Greg Kittle has been very consistent. I don't think Mike Evans and. In theory, Julio Jones hasn't been either because he still hasn't scored a touchdown.
No, but I mean, the good thing with him is even though he doesn't score, he'll still have like 120 yards.
Right,
so
yeah.
You get something out of it.
Yeah, so, no, if we were in a PPR, it'd be extremely helpful. But
he's in my other one is PPR. He's great in that.
Yeah. Right, yeah. But I don't know why I'm surprised, but I was surprised Sony Michael is good for the pay. I just thought he would just be like another back, but they've been using him like 20 plus carries a game.
Yeah, because they don't usually do that. They don't really have like a feature guy typically.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't think he'd. I mean, I thought he was a good player in college, but I didn't think he'd be doing much for them.
No, I gotcha. Were you able to watch all the Mountaineer game on last Saturday?
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
So I turned it off, and after the safety that we got on the holding play, and I was like, because like at the point, I think we had there was like 8:42 left, and we were down by 14, which. If this was a normal week for us or how we've been playing, it's like, it's only 14 points.
Exactly.
We've been scoring that. But we only scored 14 points in 52 minutes. So, we're not scoring, 14 points in 8 minutes. So, I was trying to keep hope. And then I think they punted and we got the ball back. And then we were back at back in the end zone. And then once we got the safety, I'm like, I'm done.
Yep. I did watch it all. It was one of those weird games. I've been to a couple of them in person. I'm trying to think of a recent one. But where it's a team that we should beat, not like a 50-50 or even 60-40 game, and
right, yeah.
You're not accepting that we're going to lose till there's like a minute and 10 seconds left. I feel like we could still probably win,
right?
Because they've done that a lot. But yeah, if it would have been like 28-35 or something, like a lot of points, I'm like, okay, we're fine. We'll score twice, whatever. We'll score 2 touchdowns in a minute. But yeah, not the way that game was going.
I don't know if they talked about this during the game, but I tried to figure out why no one was open. I don't know if they did talk about it or if you've read this. Were we just not running routes that were easily get the ball out or because I don't know what the amount of coverage sacks we had, but Greer just held the ball
a lot. Yeah, and I think part of it was he held it too long, which he does do at times, but usually he's really really good at escaping pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I did notice that I could be critical of is we didn't throw any intermediate passes at all. There are plays where he can get rid of the ball in half a second or less.
Right, that's why
immediately throw it. We did nothing like that. And that's perfect for the blitz. Just throw that pass immediately.
Right.
Catch it over the middle, and then even if you only get 5 yards, you get 5, but you might get a touchdown. Like when Simmons had that one against Tennessee.
Right.
So
it was just frustrating, but they're. I wish I knew his name. I should remember his name, but I'm trying not to think of it, to be honest with you. But Iowa State's quarterback, I mean, he could be well above average for the next 4 years or 3 years.
It's hard to say because he's still a freshman now. He's played 2 games, but he's definitely better than average. Yeah, he could be a decent quarterback in the Big 12, which they haven't had for I don't know how long.
I was trying to think of the last. Well, it sounds goofy to say that since Mahomes was there, but I think the last really really big name. I guess it could have been Colt McCoy. If you want to go there, even though he was the most winningest quarterback in Texas, which I thought was impressive. Because he passed Vince Young by 1 game. Maybe it was more than that. But
did he? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then the one before that I can think of is Sam Bradford. But I'm sure there's a lot of other players that probably should get recognition. In theory, maybe Geno. I don't know.
You thinking of all-time Big 12? Well, yeah.
I just meant in the past 5 years.
Baker Mayfield is pretty big.
Oh my God! How did I forget that?
Yeah, I don't think this guy might even be that quality. I just think for them to have, just like us, to have a quarterback in the top 3 of the conference, which now I think we have the best one, but either way, we were 2 or 3 the last couple of years, that still says a lot because it's a great quarterback conference. If they can be at the top of that, they're going to be a good team because they're usually maybe Kansas is worse than them at quarterback than no one else.
No, I got you.
So I think that's good for them. That coach is really good. He's 6-1 against top 25 now or something in a couple of years. He's turned the program around pretty fast.
Right, I agree. Are you concerned about our defense at all?
I am a little bit. It's weird to say this, and most people probably don't look at it this way. If we played a normal game for us, our defense would have been fine. We made them take really long drives. They did score.
Right.
But we you should be scoring 35 plus every game, like minimum.
Right.
So
yeah.
if we won that game 49 to whatever they ended up scoring, can't remember anymore. I wouldn't have cared about the defense at all, and it looked exactly the same.
Right.
So he made them take long drives a lot of the time. That running back was really good, and that
Montgomery,
that tall receiver, Montgomery is really good. That tall receiver.
Oh, Butler, he's legit. He's really good.
He's a big guy. Yeah, he'd be good against it. He's a hard matchup.
Right. Yeah. And then they kept just throwing to him, and I'm like, why aren't we at least doubling him once in a while?
Just double him.
Like they just every coverage was like 1-on-1, and I'm like, well, he's gonna win that, or they're gonna call pass interference.
Yeah,
and they finally did.
We play no doubling. I feel like for the most part.
No, I got you. Okay, now I'm gonna switch on to the Steelers for a few minutes.
Okay.
Do you feel Bell will show up next week?
I don't know, since he hasn't yet. And then his agent said, like, don't hold your breath or whatever. I just don't get why he would say he would and then not. Like, that's just even, I don't know.
So, like...
I wouldn't, I don't know. It's just he's digging himself in a deeper hole.
Right, like... for some reason, like, I'm hoping somehow he, like, doesn't show up on time, like he shows up on the day after the 10 weeks, you know, like week 10.
Yeah, because they're going to make him inactive for 2 weeks, so he needs to come back pretty much by the 8th game, because they can place him on the inactive list for 2 games and not pay him.
Oh, wow, I did not know that.
That's why he needs to come back by, like, week 8 or 9, because they can make him inactive.
Oh!
For 2 games. The first 2 games, they can put him on the non-football, non-something list. And just not have him active for 2 games after he signs and not pay him anything.
Now, this is going to sound goofy. So, based off he obviously has emotions, do you think that would be a huge backfire? Like, that would just screw us over? Or would we do that to potentially trade him, like have him technically under contract for another year and then trade him later, if that makes sense? Is that what you're saying? See what I'm saying?
What was the first part about emotions?
So, like, what I'm trying to say there is if you intentionally... So, he comes back and he's like, oh, okay, I'm back by week 10. I get to be a free agent after the season is over. Yeah. Hopefully, he's like, I'm going to give it my all, you know, to help this team win. If we win, we win. If we don't, we don't. But I feel like if he come back and then we're like, well, we're making you inactive intentionally so you don't get to be a free agent next year, I feel like that would just blow up in our face.
It could, yeah. I don't think we do that. I think it's kind of a chip to make him come back sooner because they can say, well, we're going to make you inactive for 2 games.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I think when he actually shows up, I think he'll play as hard as he can because, I mean, hopefully, even though I think he's kind of lazy, he still needs to earn a contract. And what he's doing, despite what people say, doesn't look good to other teams, especially if he doesn't give effort when he comes back.
Mm-hmm. No,
so
I agree with you.
He's hurting himself right now as far as money goes in the future.
Yeah, like I talk to my boss about this every now and then. Like, he is pretty much Marshall Faulk, but he's just a tad slower. And, like, it seems so crazy to not want that on the team. I understand that they don't want to pay him $14 million a year. I kind of get that.
Over 15, they offered him like 15, didn't they?
I really don't. I can't answer that, unfortunately. I assumed it was like one of those things. It was like the first 2 years you might get 15, but like the next 2 years or whatever it was, you might get 10, if that makes sense, or something.
Maybe it's something like that. But the guaranteed money, they upped it a lot in the last offer, and it was just what they offered him the last time I saw that whatever someone leaked was more than he was asking for like the year before, 2 years, whenever they franchised him the first time. Like it just. I get all of it, but it's like the position he's at, he might not be doing anything in 4 years, and that's the reality of it. But I mean, yeah, he's the best running back there is.
Right, yeah.
It doesn't mean that he should get paid as a number 2 receiver and a running back at the same time. That's not possible. Like, you can't do that.
See, it doesn't make any sense because, like, let's say we were a team like Cleveland. We haven't won anything in a while. Maybe an organization would do that, but like
maybe they would. That's what I mean. He's going to end up somewhere like that.
But like with the Steelers, we mark ourselves on championships. Ben's getting older.
Yeah.
We want to get back to a Super Bowl. It'd be awesome to win one, but we at least want to get back and play in one and say we had a chance or something. But just going 500 or getting in the playoffs and just say we had a winning season is not really how we carry ourselves. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. No, definitely. I agree.
I guess so.
I just think he doesn't. I don't think he's even that selfish. I think his agent has a lot to do with it. It sounds like, but
no, I agree with it because
I just think he's like not. I don't think he fully understands like what's going on. To be honest, I don't know how to explain it.
No, I kind of understand what you're saying. So, like, real quick, we'll get into this, and then we'll hang up on the conversation. We're a little over 10. It's no big deal. Not a big deal.
Okay.
But so like how he was going to come back like last year after the last preseason game.
Yeah.
I honestly believe he told the offensive line or whoever he was really close with on the team, "Hey, I'm coming in on Monday."
Yeah.
And then someone in his camp, as people say in the NBA, just told him like, "No, we're not doing that. That doesn't make any sense. Like you're not doing this. They're going to run you into the ground. They don't, they don't like or they don't appreciate you. Blah 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 blah." And then it just kind of like, I don't think it went the direction anyone wants to go. To be honest with you.
Yeah. I agree, and I think it's not all him. I mean, I think it's making him look bad, but I think it's a lot of the people around him telling him what to do, and he's just kind of doing what they tell him to do, which is common. But
No, I understand completely.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think we had a good talk, and around the same time next week.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, that's fine with me.
Hey, sounds good.
All right, talk to you later. Bye.
Okay, we're going to call Alex up this time and see what he has to say.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, not too much. What's up, man?
Not much.
I got you. No, I got you. So did you lose again last week?
I believe so, yes.
No, you played Drew. Sorry, go.
Well, I didn't even look at if I won or lost last week, so I'm gonna check it out here. I haven't had time to do so I'm gonna look at it here. Are you looking at it?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not looking at last week. I'm looking at this week when we play each other.
Oh, okay.
That's how I've always been doing it. I can do that because if I go to scoreboard, it shows the previous week. Oh, you actually played Giles. So I told Mike was complete bullshit. Because I thought you played your brother and he played his brother last week, but that didn't happen.
No, I played Giles. It was pretty close. No, I lost to him. I'm 1-5 now. That's a bummer.
No, I guess it wasn't close. It was like 44 points.
Really? Holy crap! I thought it was going to be a close one. Yeah, what was the final score? 98?
Actually, it was 54 points. Excuse me, my math is garbage.
Yeah.
No, I
That's
guess
pretty bad.
Yeah, that's no big deal.
That's no good.
So we play each other this week. You have a few teams on a bye, correct? Or a few players on a bye?
Yeah, I got a couple players on a bye. Got to think about who they are, though.
Well, it's only your quarterback, so it might not hurt you too bad because most likely you'll play Andrew Luck, I'm assuming, versus Buffalo because they're not too hot.
Yeah.
That'll make sense.
Yeah.
And then Michael Thomas is back. I mean, he might play since he's playing the Ravens and their defense it's pretty good this year. I didn't think it was the best to begin with because they lost pretty bad to the Bengals, but then Jacksonville didn't do anything last week.
Right, yeah.
I'm
moving some people around here.
I got you.
What's wrong with Josh Gordon?
He's always been questionable. He's had a hamstring issue for a while, but he played last week. I don't know if he did a lot, but he played. I think he played decent. I don't know if he got a touchdown. 2 weeks ago, he got a touchdown on Thursday night, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to check it out here. I don't know.
I don't think you want to play Cortland Sutton. Oh, butchered that name.
The only guy I really got right now is James Washington to put in there, though. You think that's...
No, I'm saying Michael Thomas. Well, if you didn't want to play Michael Thomas versus the Ravens, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, right. Yeah, true. I do have him, yeah. Forgot about him. Yeah.
No, I got you. Real quick, we'll just... since I think your mind's on other things when it comes to fantasy, did you watch all the games Saturday?
I watched our games.
The Mountaineers.
Games? Yeah. I watched it for sure. I mean, it was just I don't know what happened. We just couldn't get it together, and it just ended up being a disaster for us. So
I got you.
I don't know. I mean, I hope they do better. Against Baylor. I mean, I think they need this kind of week off to get things together and hopefully learn a little bit, No,
I understand.
They were talking on Three Guys Before the Game.
Mm-hmm.
It's another podcast just about how, it's lost blank in here. Anyways, just how, the past, 3 days after it, they're still going to be thinking about the loss and stuff and how, they should, hopefully move past it, so it'll take them a while to kind of get over that loss. You know what I mean?
No, I got you. I feel like in that scenario, I don't know if you feel the same way, but So we lose to a team that we should have beat probably, but we didn't. It wasn't really close. They pretty much, played better than us all game. There was a hope at times when we blocked the field goal, returned it. It was like, oh, maybe we can figure something out, but we didn't. But I almost feel like in that case, maybe just to counteract their point. I don't know if my English is right there, but I feel like you'd want to get back out there and be like, we need to, screw this game. We need to get back out there, hit somebody, put up some points, get that out of our mind. We need to play, West Virginia football again.
Yeah,
but
that's what Dana said in his press conference this week. I listened to it yesterday. He had a press conference and said, the team's determined. We want to get back out there and prove that we can beat people and win games.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the team seems to be determined, which is a great thing. But they just got to do it on the football field, which I don't understand what happened with the offense. I don't know how Will Grier was holding on to the ball for so long. Why he didn't just throw it away. I mean, it was just a complete disaster on everyone's part. Defense didn't play great, but they played okay. They played good enough to win you the game.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you still don't win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it was rough for sure.
Right.
So
I was talking to Mike, so I called Mike before you, and I felt like we did not run, and he said the same thing. Like he said, we did not run a pass play that was like, get the ball out now. I feel like everything maybe they were just the world's greatest corners and world's greatest zone coverage and whatever, but I feel like
they must have been. I mean, I don't know.
I don't understand why we didn't attempt to run anything fast. Like just get the ball out, just use it as a a running play, get 4 or 5 yards, and then go to second down or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it felt like every time Grier had the ball and dropped back to pass, it was like, okay, we're trying to throw it 40 yards. Oh, it didn't work out. Let's do it again.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know if that's necessarily the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think those interceptions last week or the week previous to Kansas really messed with his head. He's just like, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it was that or if it was I don't know. I mean, like you said, maybe they were just really good in coverage. It's kind of hard to.
Well, how good?
Maybe.
How good is Oklahoma's offense? Or Oklahoma State's offense?
Yeah, I mean, they must be pretty good too because they put up 42 on them.
Oh, so, well, I mean, so that I feel like that since Oklahoma's I guess our offensive scoring is still.
I think our offense is much better than theirs. I'll say that.
But we only put up 14 points. We technically only put up 7.
Yeah, true. Because that kick return, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I think we do have the better offense, but for whatever reason, last week their heads were in a different spot and just couldn't get it together.
No,
so,
I guess it was pretty frustrating.
It was very frustrating, man. I when Will Grier threw that second, he had a couple interceptions that game, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the fourth quarter, it was like with 10 minutes left, I just turned it off. I'm like, I'm done. I can't watch it.
So I kept it on because in theory we were only down by 14. But as a football fan, it's like, wait, we scored 14 points all game. There's only 8 minutes left. We're not scoring another 14 points. But I'm like, okay, they didn't score on the previous drive. Iowa State, they punted to us, and we're down at the goal line. Your back's to the goal line. And then we get to safety, and I'm like, I'm playing Super Mario Party, excuse me. I'm done.
That's a great game.
Oh, it's fun. It's so much fun.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed with some of the mini games though on it.
So off topic. Well, it's not off topic. It doesn't really matter what we talk about, in my opinion, sometimes. But I have never. So the last Mario Party I technically played, and I didn't even really pay attention to it, was at McDonald's when I was a kid. Because for some reason I never got Mario Party because it was usually a game you played with a lot of people, and usually I didn't like I. Played by myself, if that makes sense, for a majority of my childhood. Not all the time, but pretty consistently, if that makes sense. So I never played it until just the other day when I played Super Mario Party. I mean, I had so much fun because I thought it was different. Have you played the Team Mario Party? It's like you walk into the party thing and you go to the left.
No, I haven't played that one.
You should play that with Drew. It's pretty fun.
Drew and I just did with with a computer. It was like a 4-player.
No, that makes sense. Do it. You should try with the team. It doesn't mean necessarily you and Drew have to be on the same team, but it's pretty fun. It's cool. It's different because you have like free movement. You know how like in the regular the regular Mario Party when you go straight, you can only go like left or right. You can go in like a circle, and then you have to land on the star exactly. You know how like I don't know why I say because obviously you know, but when you just pass the star, it gives it to you, even if you don't land on it. But on the team one, you have to land on it to get the star.
That's cool.
It's fun. It was
makes it a little harder.
It kind of it's very frustrating. So like sometimes you'll roll like say like 14, you get a friend or a buddy, an ally, and then you roll whatever, and like you can't match up the numbers, so you have to like go in circles. It's very like it's almost a disadvantage to be by the star, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I got you.
You have to like, but it's like almost it's not opposite, but it's almost different. You know, like when you have the regular one, you want to be close to the star, but with this one, it's like you don't want to be close to the star, which is kind of different. It's fun though.
So do you like how does the block thing work? Does it only go like 1 to 6 or whatever?
No. So you have your regular dice, and then whatever character you have specialty dice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then on the way we played the one that's like the jungle, like the rune stones. I don't know what the map was called. And they automatically you start out your team versus the other team, and then they put like allies all over the map that you have to run into when you just walk to them and then you get them rather than rolling a dice or whatever or pushing a button.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool. And you can split up. So like me and Kaylee played, and she went left to begin with because there was an ally there, and then I went right or straight because there was an ally up top. It was like, okay, I'll go towards the star. You go the different way because once I got the star, it's going to move, obviously. So it's cool. It's really fun. I like it.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Did you play the baseball? It's like it's like a rec room or whatever. It's like all the way to the right.
No, I've only played it once, and I played it once with Drew, and that was it.
No, I got you. You have to get on it real quick and just like play around with things. It's pretty cool. There's a bunch of fun stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love Mario Party, man. It's great.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite like Nintendo games, honestly.
I need to make a Nintendo account because I'm assuming you or Drew probably have one, and then we can play online.
Drew has one.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. We do that.
Around the same time next week.
Okay.
Hey,
sounds good.
Thanks, man.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, so we'll call Giles here, see what he has to say this week.
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, not too much. So again, you're still the only undefeated team. Was it close last week?
Oh, no, I won by at least 50.
Oh, yeah, you played Alex. Yeah, for some reason, I thought last week the sets of brothers played each other, but I think that's not going to happen last week. But this week you play Drew.
Yeah.
His team is very good in my opinion. I mean, I think he drafted James White or he picked him up. I'm not really sure, but I mean that's going to go a long way probably throughout his season.
From the team I saw he has, I'm surprised his record's not like. I'm surprised he's not like in there battling for it.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I believe he's favored by at least a touchdown.
Really?
Oh yeah.
How do you like the matchup with Phillip Rivers at 9 a.m. our time?
It don't bother me. I mean, it's a London game, I know, but it doesn't. I think they'll be ready. I mean, I think his matchups are going to be his matchup with his quarterback's going to be interesting. I like to see what Patrick Mahomes is going to do with Cincinnati's defense.
Yeah, I'm almost borderline interested to see what actually Cincinnati's defense can do against him, because I mean they didn't play us awful necessarily, but I don't think they're as good as maybe in years past. I think they're a little bit better since Burfict came back, but I don't know if it's like an attitude thing, but he doesn't play like he sits out like 15, 20 snaps or something on defense.
I think he's just Burfict's just nothing but a dirty player to me.
No, I got you.
I mean, after what he did to Antonio Brown, I mean, I thought Antonio Brown was going to be gone with a concussion.
Right.
He basically wasn't even tackling. He was going right for
Exactly. Yeah.
Bam, right in the head with that elbow.
I think this was this wasn't last year necessarily in the regular season, but like 2 years ago or three, I think it was the year the Steelers lost to the Broncos with Peyton Manning, not Tim Tebow, in the playoffs. Because the week before, Burfict hit Brown similarly, but it was more like a one-on-one situation and knocked him out of the game. And then I think he played next week, but the whole team wasn't 100% because that game was extremely physical. So when I saw the hit Sunday, I thought I was like, that's almost identical. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I was surprised he wasn't. Was he even fined?
I don't even think he was even fined for it.
It just shocks me sometimes when they find like the. So I know you're not really a Steelers fan necessarily, but the week before we played the Atlanta Falcons, and T.J. Watt went to sack Matt Ryan. He's a little late getting there, which is not usually a big deal, and he kind of just like batted at his leg. I guess I understand by the rule, you're not supposed to do that, but then to fine him $20,000, but then to maybe not fine, Vontaze Burfict for intentionally trying to hit someone, above the neck and stuff, and then it's very confusing to me week to week.
Understandable, yeah.
Did you? You picked up. I don't want to butcher his first name, but you picked up Smith from Atlanta.
Yeah. Ito Smith. I want to pronounce his name right. Yeah. Devontae Freeman. Who knows how long he'll be out? He's going to be like their next guy to go. I mean, he'll be like their third down goal line running back, I believe.
No, I got you. I was watching. I think it was probably Matthew Berry on ESPN or on our league during the players' news or whatever, and I guess he's getting like a majority of like the first and second. Well, he's getting a lot of snaps rather than just giving everything to. This is gonna drive me nuts now. Who's their backup?
That's what I'm trying to think of his name. I know.
My boss hasn't.
I can see him playing right now, but I just can't think of his name.
It's gonna drive me nuts when I find this because I'm gonna be like, we should have known this.
See, those are kind of players you got to look for.
Tevin Coleman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. So, did you watch all the Monday night game last week?
Yes, I did.
So, how did your Packers play? What would you give the grade on the game itself? Because obviously they didn't play the best in the first half as they could have played, as they played the second half.
I think it's one of the better Monday night games they've had this year.
No, I got you.
I think defensively I don't think they'll ever get the defense right. That second, any team, if San Francisco, if that's
with a backup quarterback,
if they're like that, then anyone could do it.
I got you. Did Don Capers? I think I'm pronouncing his first name wrong or calling him something. Did Capers retire? Because I don't think you have the same defense.
I think they let him go.
Okay. I mean, he was technically. I mean, it wasn't like a shocker, but did seem weird because it wasn't like they weren't successful with him. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I mean they were good with him, but yeah, I don't know. After last year, they just cleaned house and pretty much let almost everyone on the coaching staff go.
Where would you like to see the team improve more, like game to game?
Oh, the offensive line, no doubt about it.
I gotcha.
Waters can't take another hit.
He seemed. I didn't finish the game because I'm not a Packers fan. I've always been an anti-Packers person since 2010. I think it was technically 2011 at the time when the Super Bowl was played. But I think I remember watching the first half of the Monday night game where I do. And there was a few times he kind of looked like out of rhythm or maybe like something was bothering him. So I think your point is very true that maybe the next hit is not going to be, just get up and go to the next thing, you know what I mean? Or go to the next play, excuse me.
I mean, that final drive they had there been had that illegal contact penalty not been on San Francisco, I don't think
you don't think
they would have.
I guess
they would have. It'd have been going to overtime, and who knows what the difference would have been.
No, I got you. I'm gonna hate myself for this. What's your kicker's name again? Not in our league, but in the
geez.
Packers.
Mason Crosby.
Mason Crosby. He had kind of like a. Well, it sounds silly to say a kicker had a redeem game, but didn't he make like 4 field goals and like 2 extra points or something? Maybe it was 4 extra points, 2 field goals. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, he kicked 4 field goals after missing those 4.
Right. Yeah.
What a difference! It's just kickers. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
They have them games.
Were you able to watch the game before when they played? Was it? Did they lose bad to? No. Was it Carolina? No. What was the game he missed 4 field goals?
It was against Detroit.
Oh, okay, yeah, my fault. Do you think it sounds hindsight is always I don't it's weird to me, but like do you feel like that would have made much difference or were they still not playing well everywhere like, offense, defense, special teams?
I think like I said last week, I think had he made them field goals, they probably would have won that game.
No, I got you.
I mean, I saw a couple of them hit off the bar. A couple of them were very, very short. But yeah, I think had they gone the distance, who knows what that outcome would have been.
Did you watch all the W game last week?
Yes.
What's your thoughts on that?
Lose now rather than later.
No, I got you.
I think everyone probably except for West Virginia knew they were going to lose this game.
Right. I mean, I didn't really understand how good Iowa State is. We've played them the past. Well, that sounds stupid. Every year for the past like 4 years, let's say, they played us very tough, but we've always won. So I was like, okay, something very similar is going to happen, then we're just going to win. But I think there was like 8 minutes to go left in the game. We were down by 14. I'm like, we're not scoring 14 points with only 8 minutes to go. But I'll keep watching. Iowa State punted. We got the ball like in the 10-yard line or something similar to that. And then we got the safety. And then I was like, I'm done. I'm watching something else.
Will Grier needs to learn every time he's out of the pocket. Throwing the ball away
is not a big deal.
That's a better play than taking a sack.
Right, yeah, because if you throw the ball away, let's say it's second down, like 2nd and 10, you didn't get anything on first down, you just throw the ball away, it's still just, 3rd and 10, no big deal at all. But like let's say you're down you're at the 45 or something, I don't know, the 35, and then you take a sack on, 2nd down, then you get pushed back, and it's not a big deal to just throw the ball away, is what I'm trying to say. And I feel like he felt like he had to make every play when you kind of needed sometimes just in certain games just pick and choose like, okay, I'm going to take a chance here or not. I'm going to take a chance on every play, and then it never works out.
Yeah. I mean, but going into Iowa State, it's one of them games, especially at night. It's like going to LSU. It's just a different atmosphere.
No, I got you.
I mean, look what they did. I believe it was 2011 when Oklahoma State was number 2, and then look what they did last year.
They beat
TCU
Oklahoma.
was TCU, and they went on the road to beat Oklahoma.
Right, yeah.
It's one of them teams that you can't put on your schedule. Oh, this is a W. They're gonna play you tough every game.
Right, yeah. Personally, I hope you lose so I can get some ground on you. I'm only 2-4. I'm technically ranked the 7th team, but it was.
I think everyone wants me to lose.
No, yeah, I got you. But it was good talking to you.
All right.
Around the same time next week.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
Okay, now we'll call Chase and talk about his matchup this week.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, not too much, man. What's up with you?
Not much.
So this week, you have Aaron Rodgers on a bye, then Jimmy Graham, then Jesse James. Do you feel confident at all starting Deshaun Watson versus Jacksonville?
Yeah. I mean, Jacksonville? Who did they play last week? They got killed.
They got killed by the Cowboys when in Dak and Deshaun play similar.
And I feel like he's not much, but I feel like he's a better quarterback than Dak Prescott.
No, I agree.
Feel pretty good about it.
He has better weapons at least, or
Yeah.
well, besides Zeke, but DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
Is Devontae Freeman out for the year?
I do not know if he's out for the year or not.
And maybe it's one of those short-term IRs, but I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like a wasted pick at the moment.
I got you. So you could start, let me see here. So you need another wide receiver. You could just move Alshon Jeffries up, which does nothing. Oh, I forgot Tavon has that wide receiver running back
Yeah,
option.
he's got the dual thing.
Yeah, yeah. I remember a few years. So this was like the first time I did fantasy football, and I was playing Travis in the playoffs, or maybe it was just the like the end of the regular season. And do you remember Joe Webb? I don't know if he still plays for Carolina.
Yeah.
He played for Minnesota at the time, and he was a wide receiver at the time. But Brett Favre got hurt that year and didn't play another game, and then their backup didn't play, so they had to put Joe Webb at quarterback. But he was labeled as a wide receiver also, so I could play like two quarterbacks. But I mean, he only got like 14 points, but still, that was not too bad.
No. I mean, yeah, my fantasy team's pretty much shot, so I'm not really worried about it anymore.
No, I got you. So what's your take? Not take is a correct word. What's your opinion on the loss for West Virginia on Saturday?
Well, thankfully, I was not able to watch the game, so that's a good thing. Otherwise, I would have been even more mad than I am.
No, I got you.
I am not surprised. All this team does is build up expectations and lose. I mean, obviously, I think we're still going to have a fine year, but to ever get your expectations up to do more than they should, they never meet that expectation, and I'm not surprised they didn't.
No, I got you. We're always, so back, I think it was like Pat White's junior year, maybe it was his sophomore year. I don't know. No, I think it doesn't really matter. The year that everyone picked us to lose against Oklahoma when we were in the Big East.
Yeah.
I mean, like ever since from that point, like as I got older, I've noticed we're better as underdogs in situations rather than like great favorites. You know what I mean? Or a team that actually could do something.
Yeah, I understand that, but if you're picked to do anything at all, you can't be the underdog all year.
No. I'm saying I understand.
No, I get what you're saying.
No, I
Yeah,
get you,
I'm just
yeah.
saying it's like I didn't watch the game. I don't want to watch the game. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if I understand a lot of people are upset with our coordinator, Jake Spavital.
Yeah, Spavital, excuse me.
I don't know if it seemed like Greer didn't have that many pass attempts at all, and from looking online, people are complaining that he was just taking sacks when he should have thrown the ball away. I'm not 100% sure about what happened, but
So that was correct. A majority of the game, it was like, let's say 2nd and 7 or 3rd and 10 or something. I guess on 3rd down, it doesn't really matter. But like, he would be called pass plays in shotgun or under the center. He's running to his left or his right out of the pocket, and he would just hold the ball. And then some defensive player for Iowa State that, was kept going, would just sack him, would just like, trip him up, and then it never panned out. And then it just seemed like we didn't run any short passes, meaning like we didn't put Greer in a position to get the ball out of his hands faster, if that makes sense. We just made him like, it seemed like we kept running deep routes, which is fine when it's working, but when it's not, you got to switch it up a little bit because he had no time. Because I swear it probably wasn't every time, but it seemed like Iowa State always brought more than 5 guys every time.
yeah,
More than one we had, and then they couldn't get blocked. It wasn't the offensive line or whoever whoever was calling the protection. It didn't really work out, if that makes sense. I think that makes sense, obviously.
no, yeah, I get you. It's just I don't know. From looking at the numbers, our offense should not be that bad, and that's just ridiculous to me.
Right.
Obviously, like I said, I didn't watch the game, so.
You didn't miss much at all. So, what do you think about the Steelers game the next day? Were you able to watch that?
Yeah, I was able to watch the whole game, and I was pretty happy with their performance. I mean, the defense played well, other than letting up that late touchdown to take the lead, and at the end of the game, the defense looked great, and the offense responded obviously, and I think they're in good shape to at least make the playoffs. And I don't know about our division. Our division doesn't seem like it's winnable. It's a winnable division. I think they could definitely win the division. But yeah, I'm not too worried about him. I think, and I don't know about Bell. What's going on with him? He's coming back. I guess he's not coming back this week, but it doesn't seem like he's going to come back at all at this point. But Connor's shown that he can be a pretty reliable back. So I'm not too worried about them at least making the playoffs.
I feel like I still feel, I know this is probably me just nitpicking. I feel like the win still covers up a lot of holes, meaning like we're still not I don't know, perfect's the wrong word, but we're not really in years past, we've been more of a complete team. Like, our defense was maybe a little more reliable, and our offense was much better than what it's been recently, just this season. And it's it's obviously great because we get another win, and it kind of helps us because in Cincinnati it's a divisional win, so it helps us move up in the rankings. Well, it helps us not be back so many games, but I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I know we play the Browns, which I think will be motivated to win and not lose again to the Browns. But I just want to see when we play like another contender, like maybe Jacksonville in like week 10 or whatever. We play the Ravens again, whenever week that is. I'm interested to see what we do then, but I'm trying not to get my hopes up. And
I
then
know we play the Browns after the bye week,
yeah.
and then we play the Ravens immediately afterwards, and that's in Baltimore, right?
It should be in Baltimore. So I mean,
I think they're starting to get their stuff together. I think the defense, at least wise, the last few games they've looked pretty decent. I don't know if that's for real, but I'm hoping it is. The secondary, I'm hoping they're. Yeah, I mean, our rookie doesn't look too bad. He's starting to. Edmonds, Terrell Edmonds. He looks like he's. I don't know. He looks like he's in position a lot at the time, and he's around to make plays. So I mean, it doesn't look like a terrible pick from that respect. So.
No, I got you.
And J.J. Watt, he's tied for the league in sacks. So he was before last week. I don't know if he still is, but T.J. Watt was tied with his brother J.J. for the lead in sacks. So yeah. So I mean, I don't know. They have room to grow. So,
I got you.
And we're not dead in the water. So
it did seem like that after the first 4 games, but I think
definitely.
So let me think. The Kansas City Chiefs loss, it might not be such an awful loss in hindsight, but we did. I feel like probably underperformed in the second half versus Baltimore, but we just have to get the next one versus them and see where it goes from there.
I mean, if you look at it one way, like the defense played terribly against Kansas City, and we only lost by 5-6 points. And I mean, if we're playing up to snuff, we can play with anybody in the AFC. I believe. It just depends on if we bring our A game that day.
I think one thing I meant to say this earlier, even though we've only been talking for a few minutes, but I liked how we had a running game back-to-back weeks. Because it seemed like
I agree.
Versus the Browns, Connor did very well. I mean, he fumbled, yes, but he kept us in that game. And then the next game versus Kansas City, he only had like 5-6 touches in terms of running attempts. And then the Tampa Bay game, he played better at the end, like in the fourth quarter, like he got some first downs, but his overall yards wasn't anything to brag about. And then it was non-existent again versus the Baltimore Ravens. And then we had a running game against Atlanta again. And then we had one against Cincinnati. So that was a bright spot, I think.
Oh, yeah. When he gets his touches, I mean, at least, how many games have played? 6? 7? Yeah, when he gets his touches, he's produced every single game. So, I mean, you can't argue with that. It's just, they played from behind in the Kansas City game, and I can't remember if the Tampa Bay game they were behind or not, but yeah.
No, so the Tampa Bay game, halftime score was 30-14.
Oh, yeah, we're up by,
And then Tampa Bay scored 17 more points. No, excuse me, that's way too many. 13 more points in the second half, and we scored 0.
Yeah.
So it was 27-30. But Connor wasn't what we've come to expect. Well, he was only played 7 games, or rather 6 games, but he's performed better in other games, is what I was trying to say.
And it seems like Ben is really keying on Vance McDonald a lot, at least last game. And the tight ends in general. Even Grimble had a few.
I think he had probably 25 plus yards because he had one pass that was at least 20, and I was like, okay, which was helpful.
Yeah, I mean, if everyone I like that though. I mean, I don't think we've done that in the past. I mean, with Miller obviously in the past, but having 3 different tight ends that can catch passes is
right.
And especially McDonald, I'm very impressed with McDonald.
I didn't realize how big he is. Well, I don't know his actual like playing weight, but the announcer says he's like 6'5", 280, and I'm like, what?
Oh wow, I didn't realize
He's
that
like
big
he
either.
said like 275, 280. And I'm like, how is he that fast? I'm like, he shouldn't be that fast.
I know. I agree.
No,
Yeah,
I
I'm very surprised and
Mhm.
happy with his production.
So, what do you think Le'Veon Bell will do next? Do you think he comes in the week of our, like week after the bye week, like Sunday or Monday, excuse me?
I mean, if he was going to come in, he would have come in already because he could have got a paycheck for the bye week, right? I mean,
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Game check.
so I really don't know, and I really don't care, to be honest with you.
I want him on the team. Like I don't.
I mean, obviously, I would like him to be on the team,
No, no, no,
but
no. I
I'm
understand
not
what
going to
you're.
worry about it.
I understand what you're saying because I feel the same way. It's like if you don't want to be with us, then why show up at all? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Because I feel like he doesn't. I feel like it is a money issue, and I understand you want your money. I totally get that. You only have a short window to get this money. Get it. But it just sucks because I feel like I don't know if I talked to you about this or maybe my boss last week on here. It's like our window is closing with Ben. You know what I mean? And I know it shouldn't be all about Ben necessarily, but he's a big part of winning the Super Bowl for us. And it shows, the numbers show if he's not back there, we're not that good. You know what I mean? Because like AB
Yeah.
doesn't really perform. I think Bell technically performs, but that's the only reason because the quarterback has to throw these little dump off passes because he can't throw any other routes.
No, I understand that, but I mean, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's no big deal.
But I don't know. Our offense is still potent enough that the offense can carry games for us. I mean, and Bell, I mean, what is it? Is this the second or third year he's been franchised? I can't remember.
I think it's the second year. I could be
I
mistaken,
mean,
but I'm
what?
going to go with the second
That's
year.
almost 30 mil guaranteed over 2 years.
Right.
And he got it last year, but he's given up at least 15 mil this year guaranteed. I mean, I don't know what else he wants here. I mean, a franchise, obviously players don't want that, but it's a lot of guaranteed money, and he's given that up, which I don't understand. But
I guess the point, I guess I find it weird. So obviously, let's say Odell Beckham's contract, it was abnormally large recently, and as soon as he signed it, he got I don't know, some abnormal amount of guaranteed money. So I guess in the short term effect, it's I'm only getting 14 million guaranteed, where I could sign this huge deal and get 50 plus guaranteed. You know what I mean? So I get that, but it does seem really weird to the common person. It's wait, you just don't want 15 million guaranteed? It wasn't like you have to meet a certain requirement. All you got to do is show up and play.
oh no, I get it. And over the last 2 years, he would have gotten close to 30 mil guaranteed just for doing the franchise tag.
No, I got you.
I mean, I don't know. I understand it in one part, and the other part, I just want him to play. So I mean, I understand it from both aspects, but it's just frustrating.
No, I got you. But I feel like we got a lot of good stuff in, so I'll call you around the same time next week. Thanks for calling, as always.
All right, take care.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Hey, what's up, Ben?
Oh, not too much. So you won last week, correct?
I did win.
For some reason,
Pull it up there.
did you play Alex last week? I thought you did, but I don't.
I played Gabby Way, Team Way.
Okay. She's one of my coworkers.
I kicked the crap out of him.
There you go.
It's 135 to 68.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Big performances again by Gurley, Mahomes. Tyreek Hill had a big day.
What's Gurley averaging you? 20 plus?
Well,
it seems like it. I don't know.
I think it's 25 and a half is what this says on here. He's
That's
a hell of a
wild.
player.
Yeah.
You can't beat that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mahomes has turned out to be the number one quarterback, so
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty pleased there too. Really,
then,
I got some solid guys, and Hill's not a bad option.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's why your whole team is. Let me get a little closer. Your whole team is very good. I know in the past weeks you haven't necessarily started Keenan Allen. Have you thought about maybe putting him at the? Well, I guess you wouldn't make no sense. You put in maybe Demar. Well, you didn't put in Demaryius Thomas. Do you think you'll put in T.J. Yeldon this week?
I don't know. I'm kind of going back and forth on TJ. There's a lot of talk about maybe this is the week that Fournette comes back. So
Right, yeah, that would.
well, I think if he comes back, that'll really limit his value. He'll
Mhm.
be just like a flex guy.
Right, yeah.
But at this point, he's been a top. Yeah, I think he's. Let me look. I think he's in the top 12, anyways. Yeah, he's the 11th best running back this year. So
No, I got you.
I don't know how I'm not undefeated. I've got the number one quarterback, the number one wide receiver, the number one running back.
Yeah, I don't think
I
you
guess.
have anything to worry about for the much future to come until maybe the
I shouldn't-
playoffs and just terms of matchup.
Yeah, the
week.
playoffs. Anything can happen in the
Right,
playoffs.
yeah.
But I think I'm definitely going to be able to qualify with the team I got.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't have a problem unless you have some. So the last 3 weeks I've unfortunately lost, so I'm 2-4. Giles is undefeated. My boss is 4-2. So I'm like maybe third in my division, only 2 games back. So I'm hoping to have a big week this week, and then I'm hoping some more people lose in their matchups so I can get some ground.
Yeah, I mean Giles has a pretty solid team, but really, he's got the third overall tight end, that Ertz guy, and
Mm-hmm.
Phillip Rivers is okay. He's top 10. Kamara's top 10, obviously, probably top 5.
Right. Yeah.
The Texans D is solid, but I don't know. I think he's gotten kind of lucky with his matchups, personally, but
No, I know what you're
I don't
saying.
know. Let me check the standings. How many points has he scored? He's scored more than me? No. So, I mean, he's just kind of getting lucky matchup-wise. Now, Travis has a hell of a team. I'm afraid of him.
Oh yeah, Travis's team is averaging like 120 points. I don't think that's true. I just made up a stat, but it seems like that.
I mean, I think he's doing well. I mean, he's got Ben Roethlisberger,
Right.
Saquon,
Oh man,
Adam
Saquon.
Thielen.
Yeah. Let me look at his team real
I mean,
quick.
he's got a bunch of top 5 position ranked guys. So
Right. Yeah. And then he was able to pick up Eric Ebron. I don't know if I tried to pick him up that week. Let me find his team. But he picked up Eric Ebron. He had him like 25 points or 20 points last week for him too.
yeah, I don't know. I thought about picking him up too, but I never made it happen. So
Adam Thielen has been huge for Minnesota. I mean, he was
Yeah.
very good last year, but I feel like he's almost took another level. Like because it feels like every game he has a touchdown and over 100 yards. It seems like so far, but I could be wrong.
yeah, it's turned out pretty well for him really as far as his matchups go. And then he's got Devontae Adams.
He might just have a bad matchup this week in terms of because a lot of his Devontae Adams, Marshawn Lynch was playing like over 10 plus points, and then Ben was playing very well for him. So he might have a weird matchup playing Jameis against Cleveland, maybe. Let me see.
Yeah, he may.
Will Fuller
lose
gets
if
hurt a
I-
lot.
Yeah, if I can, I'm supposed to beat Giles this week, so that would be good if that happens. And then if I can, edge Travis, if he loses again and we're tied with the same record, I mean he'd still have the tiebreaker because he's got more points in the head-to-head.
I guess.
But it would be a nice thing for me. So I'm on a nice little streak though. I've won 3 in a row, so
Yeah, that's good.
hopefully keep it rolling.
Right, I picked up the Broncos defense this week, and they have me 26 points, and Emmanuel Sanders just had like a 60-yard touchdown, and he threw for a touchdown, and he has me 17.9. So I'm on a very good pace right now.
Yeah, you're not doing bad. I mean, you got a good team too, Ben.
I have a good team, but I don't. So I don't think it was the first week I lost. I can't remember who I played. It might have been Mike. He scored 150 points. I scored 129 points. And then the next week I played my boss. No. Who did I? The next week I played someone else. I think it was my boss. And I was within 20, and I had DeAndre Hopkins and I had Adrian Peterson, Sunday night, Monday night game. And DeAndre Hopkins did everything but score a touchdown for me, so it was extremely helpful. And then the Redskins played the Saints, and they just didn't show up. And it was just AP kind of got hurt during the game, and they just kind of rested him type thing. And then last week I played DJ. Once again, it was close. My 4 o'clock teams, he had like 4 o'clock players. I only had 1, and then I didn't have anyone until Sunday night game. And Emmanuel Sanders did well. He got me like 19 points, which is great, but all his 4 o'clock players really showed up. He had Zeke. He had D.D. Westbrook, who scored a touchdown. He had 2 other players I unfortunately can't remember, and they all did very well, unfortunately. Woods from the Rams that Alex dropped. He scored a
Woods
touchdown.
He's been okay. Is DD still available in the You said he's not.
No, DJ has him because he played him last
DJ
week
has
as flex. Yeah.
I got you now. Yeah, I was thinking about targeting him down the road here, but
Right.
I guess I can't do that. I guess.
No, I got you.
I was just checking your team. I didn't realize you traded for Lev Bell.
Yeah, I traded for him, and it hopefully it
That was just a
pans
couple
out.
weeks ago.
Right. Yeah. But I thought he was going to come back. I was like, okay, maybe this is reports aren't, I didn't think they were like misled, but I just thought, okay, maybe he's not really telling the truth or something. Maybe he'll come back. He's come week after the bye. I made the trade based off that I thought I was going to have a winning record, and so now it's just like he might come back, he might not. He's not on the team right now, so it's like maybe I'll have him, but I don't know.
Yeah, you just have to wait and see. That'd be a game changer if he comes back and contributes.
Right? Yeah.
That would shake things up there.
I got you.
We'll see what happens.
So, what's your opinion on the Mountaineers game on Saturday? Well, you were in Canada, correct?
Yeah, I was on a train on my way to Vancouver. So
Was that
very
cool?
nice, by the way. I
Was that-
highly recommend visiting the city of Vancouver if you ever have an opportunity. It was interesting. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. What was the train ride like?
The train was it was different. I mean, it went pretty fast. It still took about 3 hours to get there, but it wasn't like a super fast bullet train, but it was moving pretty good. When you go across the border, they stop the train, and that's part of the reason it takes 3 hours, because then you're stopped for like half an hour while the border patrol people come on and make sure you're not like an illegal alien or something.
No, I understand.
But then you get moving again and you get up there. But yeah, Vancouver's beautiful. Basically the same. I mean, Canada's basically the same country, only they use the metric system and their dollar's a little weaker, so things cost a little bit more.
No, I understand. There's always this. So the only reason I asked about the train ride, there's always this like Facebook ad that always pops up or advertising for like a train ride from like New York to like San Francisco, and I was like, oh, that'd be really
that's
neat.
The same one, I think. Yeah.
Okay, like
Same
yeah,
one.
I'd be like, oh, that'd be really
Same
neat.
company.
And I looked, I didn't know what it'd be like in the train because like I've seen, like I think the only two examples of trains in movies are awful that I can think of is like Harry Potter, and like I think what's the Polar Express. And I looked up like a first class like paint like a plane cabinet, and it's like it looks like a prison barracks. And I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, there's no. It's not like in those, like an English train where there's like a carriage.
Right,
like
yeah.
in Harry Potter. It's not like that. You have about as much room as you would on like a first class flight if you ride coach, which is what we did. And
I
I
got
thought
you.
I had plenty of room, and I could get up and walk around, and
Well, that's cool.
you can go from car to car. Now, if you do first class, then it's more modern than what the Harry Potter things look like. But that's basically what you get if you would get to go first class.
I got you. Okay, so sorry for interrupting you, but back to the.
No.
Were you able to see any of it, or
I watched.
talk to Alex about it?
I watched most of the first half. There was one area right around the border where I lost my reception, so I couldn't watch it. But, they just. I knew that whenever they announced that as a 7:00 game out there, we were going to be in trouble. They were up for it. They thought they could win.
Right.
We let them hang around.
Mm-hmm.
The offense was inept. I don't know what's wrong with Will Greer, but the last couple weeks, he's not looked good. Even before the Kansas game, he was throwing touchdowns against Kansas State, but
Right.
he threw a couple interceptions too. He's just not looked the same since the Heisman hype really cranked up.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
is it he's not quite as good as we thought? I don't think it's that. I think he is good. I think he's just his expectations and what he thinks he can do they're not attainable right now. He's trying to play, Superman.
Right,
All we
yeah.
really need him to do is distribute the ball to the guys who
Can make
Yeah,
play. Yeah. Correct.
now the wide receivers they've been dropping a lot of balls too.
Mhm.
So I don't know what's wrong with them, but it's just kind of a mess right now on offense, and I don't know.
Have you ever heard? So,
Yeah.
like during the
I think
game, if you got to watch the first half at least, and there was probably a few sacks in the first half on us, and it seemed like Greer held the ball a long time. Which sometimes that's on the quarterback, sometimes it's on the defense, and sometimes it's on the receivers.
Yeah.
Did it seem to you we did not try? Did it seem to you like we did not try to run shorter routes? It seemed like
there were a lot of long developing
Right, yeah.
field throws. And I think that's what Jake Spavital likes to do, which is fine whenever you can protect the quarterback, one, and also
Right.
whenever your guys can get open.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know, that Campbell guy, I think that's his name, their coach, just came up with a good game plan for him, their coaching staff, and they were able to, keep him pinned in, and they couldn't get free or what went on there. But, yeah, it was a huge blow as far as your chances to win the Big 12 are, very slim now. You basically have to win the rest. You got to win out.
Right.
I mean, to get into the game. Because, Oklahoma's probably going to be there at the end, and Texas will be there at the end.
Right.
So.
And everyone has one loss. Not everyone, but a majority of the teams that we think that could win the Big 12 all have one losses now.
Right. I mean, technically, it's still wide open as far as the race goes, and you have a very good chance of doing it. But I just don't. After that performance, I have no confidence now going into November that they can do better than going 2-2 if they can do that. So I mean, you may end up just looking at like another average year, and if that's the case, at the very least, I'd like to see some coordinator change happen.
No, I understand.
And maybe Dana should go. I don't know. I mean, that's a conversation we can have later in the year. But
no, I understand. I remember the past few years, I feel like Dana has fairly took a lot of heat from us, our group of friends, because I think we probably put too high of expectations on ourselves a few years, because this team we have this year, it didn't really show it on Saturday, but I think it's much more talented than we've had in teams in years past recently.
Oh, definitely. Probably since 2007.
Right. But I think the past maybe even though he got Will Greer to come here, and I think the team even took last year was very good, and then this year they got better. I feel like so. I mean, I'm not really super far on the what is Dana doing type thing, but prior to the last 2 years, I could see where people would be like, I'm just fed up with this type thing.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. I was willing to give him time, and I still am. I mean, it's only one game. It's one loss. I mean,
right, I understand what you're saying.
We just have to see how they respond. So, I mean, if at the end of the year we're talking about 5 or 6 losses, then things need to change. But right now, I think, we just ran into a team that was up for the game, and they were hot. We were not. We thought we'd go in there and roll them, and we didn't. So,
right.
It depends on how Dana can get them to respond, especially with the extra time here going into a bye week.
Now,
you bring up a good point there about, we had the team was not good when we were in the Big East. I mean, you could pop up and win a game or two against quality opponents, but you weren't playing the same level of competition you are now.
Right.
So top to bottom, you're right. The team's much more talented than it has been, really, about a decade.
Right. Yeah, I think unfortunately, the year that Gino's last year, or maybe it was Gino's junior year, I think that team borderline disappointed, because I feel like we were still in the Big 12 when we were still in the Big East when we beat Clemson, correct?
Right. That was the last year in the Big East.
Right. Okay. And then I think it was the next year that people had us projected to at times to play Alabama in the national championship if that happened.
We were supposed to be real good that year.
Right.
And they came out of the gates hot, and they were 5-0 or 4-0, and that last win they got before things went to hell was that 70-point game against, or maybe it wasn't 70 points. It was a lot of points against
Baylor.
Baylor. It might have been 70-63. I can't remember.
It was a home game at noon.
Yeah. I remember being there thinking, man, this is ridiculous. There's no defense at all. Now, then you go down to TCU and you get upset because, or not TCU, Texas Tech, because Tech was a good team. They've always been a good team.
Right.
They're talented. I don't know that Kingsbury is the guy to coach them, but they definitely are a talented group, and they can beat you. And we're just not at that point. And then things kind of spiral out of control after that because the mojo was gone and those guys were fragile. But
right,
you're just not playing the same level of competition in the Big East that you are now. I mean,
right.
It's just not. You can't compare it. You're playing UConn one week. And
South
then
Florida.
You play Syracuse, South Florida, and no disrespect to those programs, but that's just not the same.
Right.
Going and playing, Kansas State, Texas Tech, TCU. These, and TCU to a lesser extent back then because they were in the same position we were.
Correct, yeah.
But, I think that they were able to overcome it better because they're in the middle of Texas.
Correct. Yeah.
And once you're in the Big 12, it probably helps you land some of the bigger Texas recruits. But
I always found it strange how like announcers would talk about how like Dana would talk to kids or recruits and be like, oh, Texas Tech didn't win you or Texas didn't win you, come play for us. I never understood that. I mean, I understand the aspect, but it just seems weird. Like, why wouldn't you want to go I don't know. I just didn't understand that when people say it. I understand the point of saying it, but it just doesn't.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to think about it all, but they definitely need to, come up with something here to respond. That's for sure. But,
do you like that we have the bye week now, or would you rather us had a bounce like a game the next week?
yeah, see, I was thinking about that too. I don't know how I would feel. I mean, I'd probably want to play again if it was me. So I don't know. Maybe sitting around and stewing on it's not good. But
Right. Yeah.
it all depends on the energy that they use and how they discuss the game, and if they can, make corrective, criticisms there. Basically depends on how good they are at film study. I guess is what I'm trying to say, and how they spin it.
No, I got you. I think we'll just have to unfortunately wait and see until we play Baylor, because I feel like it could go both ways. Because I feel like you said, me personally, if I was talented enough to play versus Iowa State, and we lose, and I know I'm better than that, I want to go about it out the next week and dominate that team, or hopefully if it was an easy matchup, which it should be,
right.
and just go out there, get my confidence back up. Okay, last the week before was just a fluke. This is what we really are. Blah 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 blah. But then I can also understand this for me wouldn't be good, but maybe understand. Okay, we need to go back in, watch some film. I need to work on some things personally in terms of like play wise, and then it'd be like, okay, this is what I need to do, and for the next week, and then that's how you perform the next.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it could go both ways, unfortunately.
It could, and I'm hopeful that it's a good thing, because I think that Will Greer needs to sit down with Dana and Spavital, and they need to tell him what he's doing wrong, because obviously the reads that he's making are not the right reads.
I was talking to Alex about this yesterday too a little bit. I think based off what you brought up like a few minutes ago, so the previous 2 weeks versus Kansas State and then Kansas, he threw picks to easier teams, teams that weren't that great, probably weren't defending or that great athletes.
Well, he
maybe
was forcing it.
correct. And I feel like in the Iowa State game, he's like, oh, I can't do that again, so I'm just gonna hold this ball. And I feel like it almost was as bad at times, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know what it's hard to speculate on what they're telling them, but they definitely, whatever they did, it did not work well. So
Right, I got you.
I don't know if they just need to let him and that's kind of what I think maybe this week. I don't know what kind of person he is, obviously, but maybe he can sit back and think, well, reevaluate what his objectives are and where he wants to go with the team here.
Right.
So, of course, he may not care, because he's going to get drafted.
Right.
It's just a matter of where.
I got you.
And he probably knows that.
But it was good talking to you around the same time next
All
week.
right,
All right,
All
bye.
right, man. We'll see you.
Bye.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Oh, not too much. So this week, for some reason your kicker's out too. Not that that really, really matters. But you don't have a defense this week. Have you thought about who you maybe thought about picking up?
I honestly haven't looked. I've been so busy this week, I haven't really looked at anything at all. I don't even know who's out there on the waiver wire.
No, I gotcha. Unfortunately, there's not. This year in the NFL, it seems like it's probably like this last year. There's so many passing yards. There's so many good offense. There's not really. It's more about matchups, which is probably about matchups in the past with picking fantasy football teams. But
Yeah,
it feels like all of them can get 35 points put on them easily every week.
that's kind of how I've been picking kickers and defense for several years now, is just based on matchups,
Right. Yeah.
because it doesn't really seem worth taking one early enough to make it worthwhile as far as when you're drafting. So it's
No.
just paying attention to week and see what's best.
I got you. Well, one thing you could do, I was looking at this earlier, you have Ryan Fitzpatrick as your backup quarterback. And at
Yeah.
the time, I think you picked him up. It made a lot of sense. Not that it didn't make sense at the time, but, like, he's obviously not the starter now, so you could That'd probably be an easy move rather than be like, oh, who do I want to get rid of when he's not even starting?
Yeah, no, he's definitely easy to drop. I just hadn't thought about dropping ship on him yet because I hadn't really needed to think about it.
No, I got you. I feel like there's, in my opinion, like, so obviously they started the season out with him because Jameis Winston was suspended. And then he did great in the first 2 games, I think it was. And then the second 2 games, or the third game, he was, kind of brought down to earth when he played us a little bit, even though he had a great second half. And then for Chicago,
for
they
sure.
just pulled him and put Jameis Winston back in. They did awful. But even if, like, Jameis Winston still did bad, there's no way they would go back to him. I don't see that. Like, what would that do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, because Winston's the future. You don't
Right,
want to fuck
yeah.
up his confidence. Fitzpatrick has always been that guy. Like, he'll give you 1 or 2 great games in a season, and like, oh man, this guy's going to be something.
Right, yeah.
He inevitably comes back down to earth
Right.
because he's a smart quarterback. He's good at reading defenses, but he just doesn't have the arm strength.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, teams realize that, and they just run defenses to where they try to force him to third deep.
No, I got you.
He's not good at it.
So you lost last week, and I don't want to. It sounds ridiculous to call it a heartbreaker since it's just based off luck all the time. Even though I'd like to say there's some skill in it. But you're 4-2, correct? And you're second
Yeah,
in our
4-2.
division. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy how I always pronounce his first name wrong, but Sony Michaels has panned out for you. Because I remember when you drafted him in our draft. Obviously, that sounds repetitive, but
Yeah.
I thought he would just be another, like, Patriots running back. I thought he would just be, like, get 10, 15 touches a game, not, like, almost 20 touches a game, over 100 yards rushing.
I mean, I know I drafted him late in the draft, but
Mhm.
ever since college, I've watched several Georgia games. I just liked their defense, but he always popped off
Right,
the
yeah.
screen at me. Like, Chubb was a really good running back, but, like, Tony Michel, just every play he would run the ball was like an explosion. Like, he was shot out of a cannon,
Mm-hmm.
and if he didn't get touched to the line of scrimmage, he was gone.
Right,
So
right.
I just knew that, like, he had that potential for explosive plays. So I'm like, that's my guy right there. It's a late rounder. It's a flyer.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the same thing with Connor. Like, I was just like,
Right, no, I
he's going
understand,
to get
yeah.
touches. He's going to get touches. And I knew he had a chance to be the primary back, so I figured, what the hell.
No, I got you.
It's worked out really well for me, but I didn't expect him to be this good, this quick. But hey,
Who do you think you'll start at your flex?
haven't I kept Connor at the flex pretty much the whole time?
Well, he's on a bye this week.
Oh, that's right. He's on the bye.
Right,
yeah.
right.
God, I don't.
I
really
like-
gotta look
I
at this.
love
didn't
Mark
prepare for
Ingram
this
because he-
conversation.
I love Mark Ingram as, like, a fantasy player because I feel like he gets a lot of red zone carries.
He's good because I think I don't know if I played him
You didn't
when
play
he
him.
first came back.
No, because we played each other that week.
Yeah,
And
I should have because he got like 20,
He had 20 points.
20,
Yes, he did really good, yeah.
So I definitely think he's going to be the answer then.
Mm-hmm.
Because if nothing else, he's going to get short yardage opportunities, so you can always score a touchdown or 2.
Correct, yeah.
So I think he's good for at least 10 to 15 points most games.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, so if Baltimore plays a divisional game, besides, I guess, even though it makes no sense, even though they lost the Browns in overtime and the Bengals blew them out in, like, week 2, I feel like they're more hit and miss against opponents they don't play often, and they're more consistent about divisional players, even though you could say that about any team. But I feel like, let's say,
The Ravens, more than any team, pretty much, maybe, I don't know, and I'm not real familiar with all the divisions, but definitely in our division,
Mhm.
is that team that's built to play within the division.
No,
Built
right,
to
I
play
got
the
you,
teams
yeah.
in the division. At least, I think they've stayed a little too old school, though, because the Steelers have evolved more into a passing offense, and that
Right.
gives them fits sometimes. But anybody that tries to run the ball is going to have very poor luck against the Ravens most of the time.
No, I agree.
They're got just a ridiculous front seven.
No, I got you. You brought this up to me the other day that you wanted a wide receiver maybe because you have so many running backs. Do you want Odell?
Oh God, I would love Odell if he had a different quarterback.
It's
the thing,
very
like-
frustrating because
He's so hit or miss. He can put
Mhm.
up 30 or he can put up 5. Like it's
Right, so
boom or
the-
bust.
the first few games I can't remember. The first game he did average. I think he maybe got a touchdown. No, he didn't get a touchdown until he played Carolina 2 weeks ago, the week we played each other, because he got me like 24 points. And I was like, thank God he kept me in the game because you were. To
Yeah.
that point, all your players were extremely outperforming mine. And then I was like, okay, maybe this is why I drafted him. I think I took him. So I was picked 10 and 11. I took DeAndre Hopkins first, based off the time on the board, and I took Odell. I was like, hey, he's ranked really low. Maybe people won't think about him. I'm gonna take him. I wanted to take Julio Jones because I think he was ranked 8 or 9, and I was like, well, he could maybe slip. Maybe someone will like try to take someone in front of him. But I think you drafted him 9 right before me. But that's not the point.
Yeah.
But
Well, the thing is with Odell and the same thing with DeAndre Hopkins, they're both transcendent type receivers. They're perennial Pro Bowl type talents, but they have shit quarterbacks.
No, I gotcha.
I mean, I know Watson. He's young. He's up and coming, but he still doesn't impress me yet. Like Hopkins has got more potential, but as far as Manning is on the way downside of his career. Probably should have already retired.
Right.
I just, if Odell was on a different team, I'd take him in a heartbeat, but you wouldn't be giving him away then because he'd be putting up 25.
Correct. Yeah. No, I got you.
If he had a decent quarterback, he'd be killing it.
Mm-hmm. I've heard. So Antonio Brown's done it a few times for us, and there's been receivers in the past, that have like they're like big time divas. I'm like, what's your opinion on the whole Odell thing? Like, I know the game wasn't close at halftime. I can't remember the score exactly versus the Eagles last Thursday, but it was like before halftime. He just walked into the locker room while the offense was on the field.
Odell's definitely got some major diva in him, but I think he's almost got like Antonio Brown's a diva. Like he does diva things, and but Odell reminds me more of a
Terrell Owens,
the Eagles. Terrell Owens. He reminds me more of Terrell Owens. Like it's almost like not so much diva. Like it's almost multiple personality disorder. Like they through mental issues. Like
right. I find it more
control their emotions.
Right. Yeah. Like so. Let me try to think of a good example. I can't. So we'll just use Antonio Brown. Like you said, to a great point. Yeah, he's a diva, but he's not necessarily. The amount of times he's necessarily been selfish has only been till like this year, in all honesty.
Yeah.
And
it's minimal stuff.
Right.
Like this blown out of proportion stuff.
But with Odell, it's almost like every week, and it's
every week he's doing something drama-fied for sure.
It's just very confusing. But I mean, talent.
But to Odell's credit, he's frustrated, I'm sure, by the team's performance, by his quarterback.
Right.
Antonio Brown, if he was in that situation, he may be a whole different person. He may be flipping out and freaking out too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to say. It's two totally different situations.
Oh, I got you. So versus the Bengals last week, what did you like and what didn't you like from the Steelers play?
It goes back. Our offense can move the ball up and down the field. Like it's Juju and Antonio are on now. Connor's playing like a beast.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love Vance McDonald. He is a monster.
Right.
I love watching him run over people like the old Ditka days, man. That is old school football right there.
Real quick. I didn't realize how heavy he is. He's like 270.
275 pounds, yeah.
I couldn't believe that. I'm like, how is he that fast to weigh 270?
He's the second fastest guy on the team behind, I can't remember. They do the sprints and stuff in camp, and he was the second fastest.
That's crazy.
This year.
I remember
He's a monster.
Mm-hmm. I thought this was really cool. Obviously, we're not at that point anymore. But like, I think it was like 3 years ago. It might have just been last year, to be dead honest, that Shazier won the fastest guy on the team. I always thought that was cool. It was like, our linebacker's the fastest guy on the team.
He's a freak of nature.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute freak of nature.
But this year, that Vance McDonald got second. You shouldn't be that big and that fast. Like, that's ridiculous.
No, he's a monster, man. Like I wish they're getting him the ball a lot more, but he should be getting at least 10 touches a game.
No, I agree.
Every time he gets the ball, there's a chance he could take him to the house. Plus, he demoralizes the defense with how punishing he is. Same with Connor.
Right.
Like when you run over guys, that gets in their head, and then that messes with them on the next few plays. They're like, "Fuck, is this guy gonna run me over again?"
No, I got you.
I mean, so they're doing so many good things on offense. I love it, but there's just not that killer instinct to punch into the end zone and put your boot on somebody's throat.
Right, yeah.
Like they did it. They let Atlanta, well, not so much Atlanta. They did take care of that game, but they just kept letting the Bengals hang around. And sure enough, they took the lead late. Like that's the kind of shit a good playoff team doesn't do. You put your boot on somebody and you finish them off.
I think the
defense still is really iffy, but
right.
Whatever.
It's still extremely early to bank for the Cincinnati's credit, but the first 5 games or whatever, I think they were 5-1 or 4-1. 4-1,
Yeah.
that would make sense. They did look very decent. I mean, I know I think the Atlanta game, like their offense was doing the things to win the game. Usually
If
it
you
was like,
recall, they did the same thing last year.
oh,
They
okay,
started off pretty
I did
good.
not,
They
okay,
started off like 3-1 last year, and they finished like 6-10. So,
right,
like,
yeah,
The Bengals always come out hot, and then they shit the bed.
I guess yeah. Someone asked me this earlier today when I was talking to them, and I couldn't really remember if it was he got fined even. Did Vontez Burfict get fined for that hit at all or no?
To my knowledge, he may have gotten fined, but there's no suspension.
I knew there was no suspension, but then I couldn't remember hearing a fine because I thought it was
If he didn't get fined, there is something wrong with the league office.
right because I didn't.
That deserves a fine for sure.
Okay,
If
so
they're gonna fine what's his name? The guy
TJ
from
20,000
Green Bay.
for touching his
Yeah, 20,000 for touching
touching his
knee.
calf.
And you
It's like
find 20,000 for the linebacker
Clay
from Green Bay
Matthews.
for tackling and landing on the quarterback.
Right.
Like, and I saw that play. That was just a good form tackle.
right. It wasn't even like he did.
There was nothing dirty about it
Right.
whatsoever.
It's like it's
If
for
Perfect doesn't get fined for that play, I have no. I mean, I still think the league office has no clue what they're doing. But
right. Yeah. So like with the
they,
TJ,
their decisions.
sorry, with the TJ Watt play versus Atlanta, like I was driving back from Pittsburgh to go hang out with my grandfather a little bit, and I understand the rule reads like that. It was like he was late, but like I don't feel like he just kind of tapped him on the calf or like above the knee.
He could have crushed him. He pulled up.
Right.
If you notice, like he slides by and
Correct.
pulls his arms away because he didn't want to hit him. He could have crushed him. He deliberately pulled away from the play so he wouldn't hurt him. So I mean, like he was completely aware of what was going on, from what I could tell.
Right.
And it looks like at the last second he pulls away because he knew it was going to be a bad hit. So you got to have respect for that. And the fact they still find his ass is ridiculous. He should have just blown him up.
Right. Yeah. So Le'Veon Bell hasn't reported, to the team yet. Do you think?
I'm getting sick of his bullshit.
What about he's providing for his family? What happened to that?
And I'm worn out, man. I'm worn out with it.
So do you think he'll show up next week on Monday or whatever?
I sure as hope so. At this point, I don't know what his plan is. Like Connor keeps getting better and he's going to steal carries from him when he gets back. At this point, Bell's doing nothing to help himself because he's got to get on the field to show he's still got good legs and good production,
Right.
so he can get the contract he wants next year. And at this point, Connor's playing so well, he's going to eat into at least 25% of Bell's snaps. And if the team's smart, they'll split him 50-50 down the middle. Because, in my opinion, Connor's demonstrating in a lot of facets that he's just as good as Bell.
Right.
They
Yeah.
may
Yeah.
do it a different way. Like Bell's the more streaky, jump cutty kind of guy, and it's real fancy to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Connor just runs the fuck over guys. And in my opinion, as far as what that does to a defense, that's more demoralizing when you have a guy that just runs the fuck over the linebacker and the safety and gets 15 yards.
No, I got you.
That gets in guys' heads. I remember I played high school linebacker. If you get truck sticked by a fullback or a running back,
Mm-hmm.
that sticks with you for a while.
Right.
It
talked.
pisses you off, but it's still in your head.
No, I got you. Well, I was talking to. So I called 2 people yesterday. He had this. I don't know if I can't remember. Unfortunately, I'll try to quote him, but he was either like, even if Bell came back like this week, or even like he comes back, he's like, oh, it's week 9. I still waiting before week 10. Like the Steelers could not activate him still, like not put him on the roster yet, and then he would not make it to week 10, and he would not have the next year of free agency. But I don't know if
Is it week 10? I thought it was week 11. Bottom line is they get 2 weeks of where they can like practice a player before they put him on the active roster.
Uh-huh.
But I'm sure once he reports and signs his contract, his clock starts ticking. They got to pay him after that.
Right.
If he doesn't get activated, he's still accruing time at that point once he signs his contract.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Never mind then.
So I'm pretty sure once he walks in the door and signs that contract, the rest of that stuff is out the window. To my knowledge, because otherwise it wouldn't really be fair to the player. The team could just dick him over, even though he reported on time.
No, I
Even
got
though
you.
he's dicking them over right now, but that's beside the point.
I was talking to one of my friend's buddies yesterday also on the podcast. I think it was so. Like, let's go back to the last preseason game, and like everyone's like, oh, he's gonna come after on that Monday or whatever it was, and they're like, oh yeah, he's coming. Our offensive line's like, he's coming, he's coming. Do you feel like someone in his agent or someone around him was like, hey, by the way, we're not going on Monday or whatever? Because I feel like
honestly, I think it was a combination decision. Probably his agent was in his ear, but right before he was scheduled to report that Monday, what happened? Gurley signed a huge contract. Oakland traded the linebacker to
Khalil Mack
to the Bears,
yeah,
and he signed just an enormous contract. So you had those two guys that Bell sees himself on the level of those guys as far as caliber of player,
which is
effect he has on the team, which is accurate as far as track record. So he's like, that's the kind of money I deserve, and then I'm not sure what his plan was at that point, but I think there was some increased frustration. They thought maybe if he held out, the Steelers would come back and be like, hey, we'll give you $18 million for this year if you come back because we really need you. Because as far as the franchise tag is concerned, the Steelers can't sign him to a long-term deal, but if they wanted to add money to that number, they could. Like, there's no rule saying they couldn't give him $20 million for the year if they wanted to.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
$14.5 million is just the minimum he has to be paid.
Oh,
tag him.
so that would make him more interested to stay. Well, now it's that probably would not. I don't know. Maybe it could work.
Yeah.
But like, let's say
Well,
we
they
know.
can come back to the table now and say, hey, we'll go ahead and pay you the whole $14.5 million if you come in now because we need you. But they don't need him, so they're not going to say that.
No. Oh, okay. I see. That's very interesting. I did not know that point. I thought that was like just a set number, and then that was it. Period.
They just can't offer him more years.
Oh, okay. Well, I know we talk about this all the time. I mean, it's very frustrating as a Steeler fan. You want him there. We haven't had this situation in a while. I don't think so, really.
Well, I mean, the most we ever had to deal with was like a holdout through training camp and maybe the first game of the year. We've never seen this kind of Steeler fans, this kind of length of holdout. I think the longest before was Rod Woodson held out for 1 or 2 games one year, leading into the 95 or 96 season before he left.
I guess, yeah.
And then Hines Ward held out for the whole training camp one year. And I think that's pretty much it. We've never had to deal with anything like this.
I guess you.
It sucks, but I mean, I try to stay on Steve both sides of it, but at this point, it's like I'm not really sure what he's trying to gain from it. He's getting nothing out of it.
It was great talking to you around the same time next week.
All right, buddy. I'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good. Bye.